So we made it to week 8 of the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge. It is the last full week, and I will say overall it has gone splendidly. I mean, I'm not doing anything pretty much differently than I would normally do cooking wise. So this is what we did this week. So starting off with Sunday, I usually do something more elaborate than through the week. So I took out a package of ground beef that I got from my local farmer, local to me. That's a great resource for maybe finding good quality meat. So I took out a package of that, and we are going to make meatloaf today. So pulling things out of the fridge, I have some leftover mushrooms here, some caramelized onions, and from the pantry I have some peppers. And I'm going to use some water glass eggs, cracking into another jar of those. And have some plain breadcrumbs. Here is some dessert I'm going to do as well because it's Sunday and we need a sweet treat. And this is blueberry pie filling that I did back in October of 2019. Gotta use it up. So for my meatloaf, we're going to start, of course, with the meat. I have here some of those chopped up mushrooms and the caramelized onions and peppers and everything. I'm just going to put everything in this bowl and mix it up. Here's one water glass egg, great to have on hand when prices are so high on eggs. And then some strained tomatoes also came out of my fridge that I had there. Tried to keep this fridge clean and clear up all the little odds and ends we have in there, and just whatever spices you like. And quick and easy, mix it together and put it in the loaf pan, and you're pretty much ready to go. And in goes my breadcrumbs, and then I'm just going to mix everything up with this silicone spoon. I did eventually switch over to a fork, and that worked better for me. So once I have everything mixed all up together, I'm going to just put this into my glass loaf pan and put it in the oven to bake while I'm making the rest of the dinner. So once I have all the meat into the loaf pan, I do like to put ketchup on mine. If you don't like it, then you don't have to put it. I like to put a little bit of barbecue sauce as well. That's what we like on ours. So I squeeze a little bit and then I just smooth it over, and then it goes into the oven. It forms sort of like a crust on the top, and we like it like that. It kind of reminds me of a casserole almost, with that little bit of crunch on the top of it. So with the meatloaf today, since I have the oven on, I am going to do baked potatoes, and I am making sure I wash them really well with my vegetable brush. Once I have them washed really good, I am going to just poke them all over with a fork. This helps to not only seasonings to penetrate, but also helps to cook them thoroughly through. So you could put them in individual foil packets, but I just like to put them in a pan and just cover it with foil. I'm just drizzling some olive oil over the top of them, and then I'll put the seasoning on, and then I will just rub the seasoning and the oil all over so you get a sort of crispy skin while you're baking it. So my oven has just come up to 10, so I'm actually going to put in my meatloaf because that's going to be the longest item that cooks. I'm going to put that in the oven first, and then I'm going to finish off these baked potatoes with some butter and some fresh rosemary. And I'm going to cover them with foil and put them on the side of the meatloaf. For the veg, I'm going to do my home canned carrots I have here from June of last year from the garden, and I'm going to caramelize them. I'm going to put in some butter, and I'm also going to add some brown sugar, some ginger, a little pinch of salt, and my secret ingredient, which I think makes them, is a little dash of garlic, and it just makes the dish. So I'm just going to melt this butter and sort of liquidize this brown sugar, dump my carrots into it, and this is pretty much done. This side of veg was so easy to make. It comes together in no time whatsoever. And for this dish, I do drain the carrots of the water and save that for another dish some other time. So for dessert today, I'm going to make a blueberry cobbler from scratch. So into my baking dish goes my block of butter, and I put that in the oven to get that melted and the dish warmed up and get everything hot so I can pour my batter into that. So while that's in the oven, I'm going to get my batter going. So in the bowl goes my flour, and I measure out my sugar. It is a recurring theme for me, not even just today, but all the time. Quick and easy. Another recipe that comes together quickly and easily. Now adding in my baking powder. I'm also going to add in some fine sea salt or whatever kind of salt you use. This happens to be the Redmond real salt that I'm using here today. That's what I have open in my particular kitchen at the moment. I usually use pink salt, but I'm trying this and it seems to be doing pretty good. I'm going to just whisk those all together. So now that I have all my dry ingredients whisked together, I'm going to add my wet ingredients, which I don't know what happened to the clip, but it's basically just my milk, my vanilla extracts, and I'm just going to add it to the dry, whisk it together. I got my hot pan with the melted butter out of the oven, and I'm just going to pour that batter into the middle of that hot pan. So everything goes into the middle. You want to pour it right into the middle, and then you're going to dollop in whatever fruits you want. I've done this in apple, I've done peaches. Tonight I'm doing blueberry pie filling, and just dollop it in around this particular pan. So I timed this perfectly. That timer means my meatloaf and my potatoes are ready to come out of the oven and dessert is ready to go in. So here is the meatloaf out of the oven, and I'm just going to let it cool a little bit. Here are the veggies, and here are the potatoes. Everything for dinner is ready to go, and the dessert is in the oven cooking as we eat our dinner. And here is what it looks like on the plate, and I will say this was really good. And here is the blueberry cobbler out of the oven, and I'm gonna let it cool a little bit, and then we will serve that up for dinner. It was really good, and it didn't last very long. So for tonight's dinner, I'm going to try some more of these Nora rice sides, and that's not enough for my family, so I'm going to actually stretch it with some regular rice, and I'll show you how I do that. And I'm going to pair that with a home canned jar of ugly chicken. So for the rice, I'm just going to pre-soak it for 20 minutes, and then it will cook for 10 minutes, right around the same time the packet. In my saucepan, I have some water, and I'm going to use the water off of my chicken. I would normally use my vegetable water from a previous night, but I don't have much of that, so I'm just going to use this one from the mixed veg and the chicken to add some flavoring to the rice as well. So into my saucepan goes my rice and my seasoning packet, as well as my pre-soaked rice. So I'm gonna let this cook until it's almost ready, and then once it's about 5 minutes out, I'm going to add in my chicken and let that warm through, because that's all that needs to do. It's already cooked. I just need to add it in here with whatever veg I'm going to put in, and everything will be ready to go at the same time. So in goes my chicken, And then I'm going to add in my veg. So here I just took some of the liquid and I'm making sure I'm rinsing out my jars and my cans to get all that goodness out of the bottom, and that adds to the seasoning of your dish. Don't let that go to waste, because that's where all your spices and stuff will settle. So I just added a few more spices in, some red pepper, some parsley, some basil from last year's garden, just to kick up the flavor. For this meal, I'm doing a quick fridge clean out. I have some ham here that we put on pizzas the other night and didn't quite use it all. I have some kale here from the garden in 21, so I'm gotta really use that up. That's what, 2.5 years old. So I have my cast iron skillet here, and I'm just gonna fry up the kale with that ham, and I'm going to put it over some mashed potatoes tonight, and basically that is it. Quick and easy, just the way I like it. So my bread had a little mishap this week. That's okay. The top stuck, and when I was pulling it off, it kind of caught it, but I baked it anyway. Here it is coming out of the oven. It doesn't look too bad, and it tasted delicious. So that's the important part. And this week, actually quite a few weeks, I'm finding that making rolls helps to stretch that bread loaf, and we get a lot more mileage of it, so to speak. So this is what the bread looked like when it came out of the oven. And of course, you know what I gotta do with it. I gotta put the butter on it. So I'm just gonna butter this up, and then once the rolls come out, I have to put butter on them as well. So I'm gonna let my loaf cool, and once that's cool, we'll cut into it. And the dinner rolls I'm gonna use for dinner tonight, just to stretch that meal. So my rolls are out of the oven, and I'm going to put some butter on them. But since I had the oven on, I wanted to put something else that I had in the freezer. I always try to have a little something sweet for the week. I know we had the blueberry cobbler, but that won't last very long, so I thought cookies would be a nice addition. So this is our bread for the week. We have some dinner rolls that we will use throughout the week, and our sandwich loaf that I will slice up and will use for sandwiches throughout the week. This challenge, this 3 Rivers challenge for January and February, has been awesome for me. I haven't spent anything, knock on wood, there's a few more days to go, but it's been great. My bread's cooling in the back there, and I will definitely be doing this again. So thank you to 3 Rivers. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and click that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos.